Hello, it's Matt and Noah back with Beanie Bro Sports Action. We're talking post-trade deadline. And Matt, we had a great trade deadline last week, some huge moves. We saw Trey Turner, Max Scherzer heading to the Dodgers. We saw Anthony Rizzo, Joey Gallo heading to the Yankees. We saw Jose Barrios heading up north with the Blue Jays. What did you think about it, Matt? What was your biggest moves? What do you think helped teams the most?
Well, the big trade, obviously the big trade was the Scherzer Trey Turner trade. I thought that was a really big move by the Dodgers and a pretty good one. Because they did give up their two best prospects. But I mean, in that dog race of a division, they're just, that's LA, one of the biggest markets in all of the US and North America in general. They just bit of LA magic as usual and just made a huge splash. And, in that ultra competitive division, I feel like they made the biggest move and they got better and the best, especially with the whole not Trey Turner, the Trevor Bauer situation. They could have just lost a Cy Young guy. So just in Dodger fashion, just add another Cy Young guy, like now they have like what, 4 or 5 former Cy Young winners and 4 or 5 former MVP winners. Like the team is just loaded, but I don't know, but the Giants ahead of them still made a nice addition with Chris Bryant too. So I do like the Scherzer Trey Turner trade, but I also like the Giants Chris Bryant trade as well. So it's just a dogfight in the NL West. It's just an arms race. It seems like it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think after the Dodgers made that big trade, the Giants knew they needed to do something. I thought Chris Bryant, we were talking about it last week, kind of at the deadline before the move happened. We all thought it was a great fit. Didn't know if the Giants were going to do it, but Chris Bryant brings a lot to that team. And even just a change in the culture in the clubhouse, the team knows they're going to win. They are playing to win, and ownership is supporting them. And Chris Bryant brings a lot to the field, but he also brings a lot to the clubhouse. Just having that big presence there is going to be huge for San Francisco as they now have a 4-game lead in the NL West. And we're counting down now, just a couple months left to go.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I know with Chris Bryant, he had a very hot start to his year. He looked like 2016 Chris Bryant that, won the MVP in the World Series in the same year. But, then he hit a bit of a rough patch over the last few months and, kind of sputtered a bit and, in correlation with the Cubs, kind of downfall after, actually being in the AL Central lead for a couple days. It seems like it, but that's long in the past Chris Bryant kind of struggled. So like you kind of mentioned, this the change of scenery. Hopefully will do some wonders for him. I mean, he already has a home run in his first 4 games, and he's only hitting 231, but it's only 4 games. So, and he's actually playing for a championship again this year. So that could rejuvenize him. So,
yeah. Well, I mean, how about that? All 3 guys with the Cubs, Javier Baez, Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant, all hitting home runs in their debuts with their new clubs. Pretty crazy.
That was pretty nuts. I'll say that. And it's just nuts. You see, like, I remember, like years ago when the Cubs had all these guys, they had like just all these guys come out at the same time. It's just, I think they were one of the first teams in history that had their whole infield that was like under 25. And like these guys, they just traded away here. It was just end of an era, all of them at the same time. Those were all those guys that were in that main core, Javier Baez, Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant. I mean, Wilson Contreras was part of that. He's still on the team too, but like, it's just crazy to see that was the core that broke the curse, so the Cubs fans will probably, maybe took it to heart more than other teams would have in that case, because they broke that big curse. These were the guys that, they got the job done. So they should still hold their heads up high, even if they may, these players may kind of feel upset that they, left the Cubs and the team they were drafted by. They still got the job done. And hey, maybe one of them will get the job done with one of the other teams they were traded to.
Yeah, I mean, good chance. You got the Giants, Mets, and Yankees all getting one of those stars. And I mean, good for the Cubs. They got a World Series out of it. But also, if you look at the prospects they got in return, and they have a chance to sign these guys in free agency, like even Javier Baez said, I could go back to the Cubs. Like I could re-sign with them. And that's absolutely great for the Cubs. I mean, they just got in a huge crop of talent in their farm system.
Oh, they overhauled their farm system for sure. Yeah. I like that. Well, I guess we didn't even talk about the one yesterday. The Craig Kimbrell trade. They got Nick Madrigal for Craig Kimbrell. I think that was a great return. Nick
Oh, a great
is
trade.
one of the best contact hitters in the game. It could be one of the best second basemen for the next like 5 or 6, like next decade. Who knows? Has no power, but he just puts the ball in play. Like that was a great return for a reliever. I mean, the White Sox are getting a fantastic reliever in return, but man, the Cubs should definitely be happy with that return.
Yeah, and you don't typically see those crosstown trades that are that impactful, but that was a huge trade for both sides.
Yeah, no, that is pretty rare because I think the last time they made a trade like that, I don't know, it was like 2003 or 2004. I really don't know between those two teams, but yeah, it's pretty rare to see that, to say the least.
Yeah. So now that we've kind of talked about the trade deadline a bit, let's talk in the American League first, specifically the AL East. We saw the Jays add Jose Barrios. We saw the Yankees add a couple big bats and Rizzo and Gallo. The Rays made a bunch of moves, getting Nelson Cruz as well. Red Sox got Schwarber. He'll be hopefully off the injured list within the next couple weeks. But how is the AL East shaping up, Matt? I mean, right now the Jays are 6.5 back, but they're on a 3-game win streak. How are they going to get to the playoffs?
Well, the big thing is just definitely going to be their bullpen, 100%. That's the issue that's been all year. And, as a stout Jays fan, just I just seen it's the same recipe for failure the whole year so far. I mean, you look at the run differential, they have, I believe, the second best run differential in the entire AL, and yet they sit fourth in their own division. And that just goes to show their offense is just, when they win, their offense just crushes and, wins by a ton. And when they lose only by like 1 or 2 runs. And typically a lot of these games we've seen, especially against, divisional rivals like the Red Sox and Rays, it's because the bullpen just can't get the job done. So the big thing is with the Jays is just they have to have a more reliable bullpen. Like in my personal opinion, I do think they have the best starting rotation in the AL East and they have the best offense in the AL East. It's just the Red Sox and the Rays. The reason why they're winning those divisions is that every time, they have a lead, their bullpen's holding it for them. They're not blowing all these winnable games like the Jays have been all year.
Yeah, definitely. So what are you thinking coming out of the East? We got 2 months to play. Right now, the Rays are up 1.5 games on the Red Sox. Yankees and Blue Jays are still in the hunt. Are we going to get 3 teams out of the AL East this year?
Oh, that's a good question. I mean, I think we'll get 3 teams out of the AL East. I really do. Like from what I've seen with the A's, they can't play well against really good teams. I mean, I haven't looked at their schedule, but they falter against teams that actually are above 500. They can beat up on the Rangers. I mean, even though the Angels are above 500, I wouldn't consider them as one of the contending teams. Even when their last series against the Mariners, I believe they lost it. If not, they got swept. I'm not too sure, but it seems like they're just, every time they play a team above 500, it seems like they just lose, or they play a team that they're battling in the wild card or is a division leading team, they seem to lose. So I do think with the additions the Yankees made, they can win that wild card. And same thing with the Jays. I mean, I guess they're not that far back from the A's right now. So the Yankees are only 3 games back and the Jays are just right behind them, nipping at their tails. So I feel like one of those teams has a big run in them to surpass Oakland.
Definitely. And the Jays with the Barrios trade, you know what? I was really second guessing it when it happened. I thought, wow, they gave up too much. But then Justin even said, you don't know what these prospects are going to be. And Jose Barrios adds a lot to a Blue Jays team that really needed pitching.
Oh, they definitely needed a starter. I mean, being a Blue Jays fan myself, I was initially pretty mad at what they gave up. But then when you kind of look, especially with the Jays, they do have a plethora of, positional talent at the major league level, but not only at the major league level, but, also in their farm system. And, they're trading from a position of strength for a position of weakness, which is starting pitching. As much as solid as Robbie Ray and Hyun-Jin Ryu have been, you can never have too many stars. I mean, if the Jays really want to take the next step, and compete against teams like the White Sox or the Astros or even the Rays or Red Sox, they're going to need solid starters. And I mean, that's, if you have more starters that are even going 6 or 7 innings, it also helps your bullpen situation. Cause then you're not having your bullpen pitching as many innings. That's not as taxing on them, and they get more rest and stuff. So as opposed to having guys pitch only 4 or 5 innings, you have guys pitch 6 or 7 innings. So your bullpen's only pitching 2 or 3 innings a night as opposed to 4 or 5. So that's probably another reason why the bullpen was really bad. Because I mean, outside of the top 2 guys, I mean, well, then Alec Manoah came up and he's done pretty well so far as a rookie. But Ross Stripling and Steven Matz, and they've had a bunch of other starters come up, just haven't really gotten the job done. But I mean, they've both actually had back-to-back scoreless outings here, but other than that, they haven't really been that good. So as much as they did give up a lot, I still think it was a necessary trade. And it was just according to this deadline, it was just, that's the price it took. And hey, if management does their scouting and stuff, and if they believe this is their guy, then hey, they made a trade that was necessary.
Yeah, I mean, he's already looked good in a Blue Jays uniform.
Yeah, he has. He really has. I like that curveball.
Yeah, he has a wicked curveball, and hopefully he'll be able to stay healthy because he can be a huge piece, not only down the stretch here, but next season he's going to be a huge part of that Blue Jays club.
Oh yeah, well another big thing with him is I think he is one of the I don't know the stats, but since like 2018 he's thrown like the 3rd or 4th most innings in the American League. Like he's pretty durable.
Yeah,
there are guys who definitely have nastier stuff in the MLB, but he's a reliable guy that actually pitches high quality innings as well. So that's another thing too.
Definitely, that's exactly what you want in a starting pitcher.
Exactly, 100%.
Yeah.
Now, I mean, I guess, I mean, who do you think is actually going to take this division here with the AL East? We have the Rays and we have the Red Sox. I mean, maybe outside the Rays and Red Sox, I guess we can just focus on them. Who do you think it would be more likely to win the division here?
Honestly, I'm thinking the Yankees.
Oh, you're thinking the Yankees. Okay.
I absolutely hate to say it. I absolutely hate the Yankees. But I do think that Rizzo and Gallo were huge acquisitions to the team.
They were.
Especially playing at Yankee Stadium. I mean, they are cheating the system so well. You have 2 left-handed bats. 2 left-handed bats with perfect swings who get on base with that short porch in right field.
Yeah. And I mean,
I'd hate to see the Yankees win the division or make the playoffs, but those were big.
I know the big thing with them too was kind of their starters, but I know they're getting Corey Kluber back, and I believe they're also getting Luis Severino back soon too.
Are they really getting Luis Severino?
Yeah, I think they're getting him back soon too.
Yeah, because I know he was supposed to be back earlier, but like Syndergaard with the Mets, he kind of went through a little bit of a setback. Yeah, he had a first rehab appearance, encouraging. I mean, if they get him back, they're going to be a good team.
Oh, they will be. They got a good bullpen too. Definitely better than the Jays. So
yeah. I would love to see the Blue Jays though run the board. I think the Blue Jays could still win the division.
They could. I mean, in my opinion, they have the best roster on paper. Like outside the bullpen, like they do have a really good, the best roster on paper. In my opinion, is just the bullpen is just a huge weakness, and the 3 teams ahead of them definitely have better bullpens. So we'll have to see.
Here's my hot take. People will disagree with this. When George Springer is in that lineup, they have a better offense than Houston. 100%.
He has looked fantastic.
He has looked
this last little bit. He's looked incredible.
But we're talking arguably the best offense in baseball. Definitely the second best offense in baseball. Houston's got a very good offense. But if they pitch like they have been during this little stretch, and if Barrios is able to give innings, Young-Jin Ryu can stay healthy, Robbie Ray can provide quality starts, and they just get something else, like more quality starts than some of their other pitchers, they could go on a run.
Yeah, they're
6.5 back. 6.5 games is not a lot.
And they have 4 games, a big 4-game series against the Boston Red Sox this series. So that's the best way to pick up easy games is to win against the teams ahead of you.
Exactly. And the Red Sox, I still don't think the Red Sox are winning the division. They've been at the top all year. I don't think they have the pitching to win the division.
Bad starting pitchers.
And I'm not saying the Blue Jays pitching is much better than the Red Sox, but the Blue Jays have a much stronger offense. They're a much deeper team. And I think the acquisitions they made to the bullpen, along with Jose Barrios, I think it could be enough.
It could be. I do think the Jays have a better starting rotation than the Red Sox do. Like I think Chris Sale should be back honestly any week at this point. I mean, who knows how he'll be, but
Yeah.
like I mean, Nathan Eovaldi's been pretty good, but man, the rest of the rotation is just in shambles. You're talking Eduardo Rodriguez has been brutal. Garrett
Like
Richards,
Pavetta.
yeah, Pavetta. He was like really good to start, but he's still so iffy. Like
Yeah, but I mean, he was really good to start, but only because of like the numbers were definitely skewed.
oh yeah,
They were
yeah,
very lucky statistics. Like his
oh yeah,
BABIP was ridiculous.
yeah. The peripherals weren't looking too good then, so
Yes.
he's kind of matched them a bit over the last little while. So
Exactly. Anybody who's on the Nick Pavetta train, I hope you're off it because he's
yeah,
not a good pitcher.
yeah, he just got a bunch of wins because the Red Sox offense just exploded every time he started for some reason.
Exactly. Just because you win games does not mean you're a good pitcher.
Yeah, that is 100% true.
I mean, if that's the case, then Jacob deGrom is the worst pitcher in baseball because he can't win. So,
yeah, honestly. All right. I mean, I guess we move on to the AL Central. There's nothing really to talk about here, I guess.
Not much to talk about. No,
White Sox are winning the division.
Definitely. I mean, the only question in this division is, are the World Series champions coming out of this division? Are the Chicago White Sox going to be able to get by Houston? Are they going to be able to get by the Rays, the Red Sox, or whoever comes out of the AL East? Are they going to be able to win in the postseason?
Well, I can say they probably have the best pitching in the AL. Definitely, I'd say. The starting rotation's great. And I mean, now they traded for Craig Kimbrell. So you're telling me they have Craig Kimbrell and Liam Hendricks in that bullpen. Never mind Michael Kopech, Garrett
I know.
Jay, or whatever you say, like those four guys. It's like all those guys just are nasty. They throw 98, 99. It is ridiculous.
Yeah. I mean, two big things, aside from the White Sox that I see out of the AL Central. First off, the Twins are absolutely awful.
Oh, yeah.
I'm one of those idiots who picked the Twins to win the division. They are going to finish last in the division.
Yeah.
They are absolutely awful.
And they were trying to win this year.
They were trying to win this year. Like, Minnesota, what is wrong with you? You can't even do anything right. Like, they should at least, like, at the beginning of the year, the absolute worst for the Twins was a finish in third.
Yeah.
Because they were not going to finish below the Royals, and they were not going to finish below the Tigers. Cleveland had a chance, but it was supposed to be White Sox Twins 1-2.
Yeah, it was.
And if you would have said at the beginning of the year that the Minnesota Twins would trade Jose Barrios before the deadline, oh my God. Like, Minnesota's awful.
Yeah, there
is no team in baseball this year that has suffered more than the Minnesota Twins.
There's no bigger disappointment, that's for sure.
No bigger disappointment. And I haven't seen a disappointment this big in a long time. They have 45 wins.
Yeah.
We are in August, and they have 45 wins.
Yeah, oh my gosh.
And the run differential isn't even that bad. It's negative 74.
Yeah, it really isn't that bad.
And I mean, it's just everything. They can't hit. They can't pitch. And Alex Colomé, their big acquisition to fill that closer role, has been garbage.
Yeah.
Absolute garbage.
Yeah, good thing the White Sox traded him or let him go and sign Liam Hendricks. That turned out to be a pretty good
100%. But even another thing I see from the AL Central, and this might just be because the division is that awful, but the Tigers' rebuild looks strong.
Oh, it does. I really like the Tigers. They're going to be good the next 5 years.
Yeah, they're sitting just below 500. They've had some of their prospects get injured this year, so like they've even lost more talent at the major leagues, but their farm system is amazing. And they are sitting in third place in the AL Central. Tigers fans, future's bright.
Oh, yeah. It is very bright. Yeah, because some of their big prospects, you're talking like Spencer Torkelson is just, I mean, I think he's already in, is he already in Double-A or advanced? I think he's in Double-A.
And even like Matt Manning and Casey Mize are there now, aren't they?
Yeah, Casey Mize has been pretty good this year. ERA of 3.
He has been pretty good.
You know, he's been solid this year, and like
he's definitely been their brightest spot this year. But they've had a lot. Like, it's been a very good year for the Detroit Tigers.
No, it has been a very good year for sure. So a
Yeah.
lot to look forward to as a Tigers fan over the next few years. You're not making the playoffs, but man, you could make the playoffs a lot in the coming years.
Yeah. Just don't mess it up, Detroit.
Just maybe this core will end in World Series and not just a couple AL pennants like the last.
Yeah. But in 3 years, you might see the Tigers and White Sox at the top of the division battling it out.
Yeah, you could. You really could.
I mean, the Twins are just awful. I don't know what they're doing. I have
I
no
don't
idea
know
what you're doing in Minnesota. The Royals are okay. They don't have the farm like the Tigers do.
Yeah, and Cleveland has a bunch of really good young pitchers in the bullpen and the starting rotation. Yeah. They'll be pretty good too. It's just Minnesota. They could be last. If you're a Twins fan, could get used to this over the coming years.
Yeah, but like at least like most times when your team finishes last, you're expecting it. Minnesota Twins were not expecting it this year.
No, I was not expecting this at all. Every other team that's in last, you kind of expected it, but not them.
Yeah.
All right.
Let's go to the AL West.
Yeah, the AL West. This is definitely a much more competitive division than the AL Central.
Well, there's actually some sort of competition in this division, unlike the AL Central.
Yeah.
But I mean, this is still a Houston Astros division to lose.
Yep,
they're definitely 4.5 up on the Athletics, and they've been really good against really good teams. You look at their record against teams above 500 is 43-28.
Yeah, that's really good.
It is the best winning percentage against teams above 500 in baseball, and it's not even close. Like the next best is the Rays, they're 41-32.
Wow, that's impressive.
Yeah, and the Red Sox are 43-33.
Nice.
But I mean, other than that, there's no team in the American League that is really much better than 500 against teams above 500.
Yeah, that's that.
And even in the National League,
impressive.
There's not really like everyone's right around 500 against teams above 500. It's pretty even, but the Astros have just beat up on good teams, really good teams.
Oh yeah, I mean, I remember when they swept the White Sox earlier this year. Although they did lose another series to the White Sox later, but they just kicked the crap out of them. They have an offense that good, and the starting pitching can match too at times.
They are 22 games above 500.
Yep. And the best run differential in the AL too.
Yeah, and
150.
Obviously, when you have Carlos Correa, Jose Altuve, Alex Bregman, Jordan Alvarez, and Michael Brantley in your offense, and Alex Bregman's been injured too.
Yeah, that's the scary thing.
I know.
It's just like every guy in that team just hits for a very high average, like 290, 300, every single guy, and they just don't strike out a lot.
Yeah.
It's pretty incredible.
Yeah, and I mean, we talk about all these teams making big acquisitions, but we're talking about the best offense in baseball getting Alex Bregman back soon.
Yeah, that's bigger than any addition they could have made.
Yeah, I mean, he's rehabbing right now. Should be back soon. And the Oakland Athletics, I mean, kudos to them for staying in the division here. I think a lot of them had them winning the division this year, but the Astros pitching has been a lot better than expected, and they should easily win this division. Yeah,
they definitely should. I mean, I don't, for some reason, I'm just low on the Athletics. I don't know. I don't even think they'll make the playoffs, in all honesty. I don't know. I just have that feeling. I mean, they're still sitting good, but I don't know. Matt Olson's been pretty good, but other than that, the rest of the offense has been kind of meh.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the Yankees and Blue Jays are both better teams than the Athletics right now.
I think that as well. Yes, for sure.
And if you're telling me that Tampa and Boston are staying at the top of the division, which isn't a guarantee, I mean, the Yankees and Blue Jays are close. I do not think Oakland will be able to beat both the Yankees and the Blue Jays.
Yeah.
I don't. And right now, the three teams are within 2.5 games in the wild card. I just don't see it happening.
Yeah, it's going to be a dog race for sure, but I do think the Yankees or Blue Jays, one of them will take that second wild card spot from the A's.
Yeah. Now, here's the most confusing story in baseball. How are the Seattle Mariners 6 games above 500 and only 3.5 games back of the wild card?
I don't know.
It makes absolutely no sense.
Especially when you look at the run differential, it's negative 49.
Their run differential it shows that they should be just below 500. But instead, they are 6 games above. And I mean, if they're in the NL East, they're in first place.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't even know how they're doing so well this year. I think they're just, I don't know, they just get timely hitting and stuff. And I mean, like, they have the worst batting average in the AL. Like, I mean, I guess that their team ERA is 8th in the AL. I just don't know how they're doing it, in all honesty. I think it's just timely hitting and pitching and all. That's all I can say.
Yeah.
And they just seem like they show up for big teams. I mean, I saw them when I was watching them beat the Jays in the series. I saw them beat the Astros in a series. I'm pretty sure they swept the Rays in a 4-game series. Like, they're kind of the opposite of the A's. They seem to show up against the big teams and good teams. So
definitely. It's just like, even at the beginning of the year, I was like predicting that they were going to be in the hunt, but I never predicted this. Like,
yeah,
it's crazy. And
it is crazy.
It's not like they've been that phenomenal. Like, it's not like any of, like, Mitch Haniger has been good, but he's not. What is he batting, like 230?
Yeah, he's batting 265. That's not too bad.
Okay. But I mean, it's like none of their players are actually like performing that well. But
No,
they're performing well at the right time. And they're
like
games.
Kyle Seager's batting 218. Like,
oh yeah, Kyle Seager's been awful.
Yeah, he's got the power, 22 bombs, but
he's got the power. But I mean, heading into this year, they had to have hoped he was going to hit 250 and then move him at the deadline.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're talking about they probably did not have any suitors at the deadline.
No, they probably did not.
And we're talking about teams like Milwaukee. They could have used a third baseman.
Oh, yeah.
And Kyle Seager could have been had for cheap, and they still didn't want him. Because, I mean, why would you want a third baseman who hits 218?
Yeah, honestly. I mean, Mariners, it's been a good story so far. I mean, I don't think they're making the playoffs, though.
No.
I think it's been kind of luck at this point based on their run differential and the fact that they're last in quite a few, or if not second last in a lot of offensive categories. And it's like they're kind of a middle of the pack pitching team. So I just don't know. I don't think this is going to continue.
No, they're not making the playoffs. They are going to finish above 500, I think.
Yeah, if they finish above 500, that's
a win
this year. That's a huge win. And again, they have a very bright future with the prospects that they have coming up, including one of the guys on the team right now, and Jared Kelenic.
Yep, Jared Kelenic, and they have a great young core.
They do have a great young core. So,
all right. Well, let's head to the absolute most awful division in sports, not just baseball, in sports, the NL East.
Oh, gosh. The sewer of the MLB.
We talk about the Twins being such a disappointment, but they're not the biggest disappointment in baseball this year. The NL East is the biggest.
Just the whole division.
The entire
whole division.
Heading into this year, I had them pegged as the best division in baseball.
Yeah, it's been.
I thought we were going to see 3 teams possibly winning 90 games. And now we're talking about potentially no team winning 90 games.
Yeah, you could see like a team win 86 games and win the division or something.
And the Mets have just been coasting along in first place. And now they've lost 7 of their last 10. They have looked absolutely awful. And what do they do at the trade deadline? They get Javier Baez. Great acquisition, but that was not a need.
Yeah, I thought
they needed pitching.
Yeah.
And I love the Javier Baez trade, but why wasn't Zach Davies in that trade?
Yeah, I thought they should have gotten a starter.
They should have gotten a starter. They could have used a reliever too. And you know what? Kudos to the Phillies. They've won 6 of their last 10. They've won 5 in a row. They're on a 5-game win streak after it looked like they were maybe like dwindling before the deadline. They weren't going to make any moves. They did trade for Kyle Gibson before the deadline.
Yeah, that was a good trade.
Great trade for the Phillies. And they're a half game back heading into a 3-game set with the Mets.
Yeah, I think the Phillies are kind of like the Jays in the sense that they have a pretty good starting rotation with, like Zach Wheeler, Kyle Gibson. I mean, Aaron Nola hasn't been the best this year, but, you never know what you're going to get. He still has the capability of, pitching some pretty big games. And I mean, Zach Elephant is Eflin, whatever you could say his name. Like I think he's been hurt for a lot of the year, but he's still there. So, and their offense, they got JT Realmuto, Bryce Harper, Andrew McCutcheon, all those guys. It's just their bullpen that's kind of bad. So,
but they
fight. No, they can still win the division.
And they fight. Like they were down 2 in the 9th today against the Nationals. They rallied back, scored 4, and they swept the Nationals.
Yeah.
Which is it's respectable. When you sweep a team 4 games, even though the Nationals have been struggling, they still got Juan Soto. They still got some great guys.
Oh yeah, they still do. Yeah. You gotta win those winnable games.
Yeah. And then you see the Mets, they just lost 3 or 4 to the Marlins.
Yeah, exactly. Case in point right there. The Marlins are last, and they lost 3 or 4. It's the majors. Anyone can beat anyone.
Who, by the way, the Marlins have the 2nd best run differential in the NL East. They are +2. And their record is 47-62. So we talk about run differential. Sometimes it's accurate, but you see with the Mariners and the Marlins, it's not always accurate.
Yeah, I mean the Braves are +57, but I think that's from that one game where they won like by 20 or something. But
the Braves have had some big wins.
Yeah,
but I mean they're 2 games back right now. This is a 3-team division, and for those who thought this was the Mets division to lose, maybe it is, but they're certainly trying. They're certainly trying to lose this division.
Yeah,
they've lost 7 of their last 10. They head into a 3-game set with the Phillies. And then they play 13 straight games against the Dodgers and the Giants.
Yeah, I saw that. That's a brutal stretch.
It's a brutal stretch. And I was really like, who makes the schedule? But it's because nobody thought the Giants were going to be good this year.
That's a brutal stretch.
But they literally play the Dodgers, then the Giants, then the Dodgers, then the Giants. And potentially, we have to see Max Scherzer twice, who, by the way, is an absolute Met killer. And now, with how much fun I make about the Phillies, horrible defense, horrible bullpen, this might be their division.
It could be.
And then the Braves, also awful bullpen. I don't think they did enough at the deadline. But they get Travis d'Arnaud back Tuesday, potentially Tuesday. That was just what was reported. But they're 2 games back.
Yeah.
And we got plenty of baseball to go.
Yeah, we definitely do. I mean, the Braves, I don't see them winning the. I mean, they're only 2 games back, so they're definitely well within striking distance. I don't see them winning divisions between the Phillies and Mets.
Yeah, but it might not be between the Mets much longer if they keep this up.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, right now, the Mets are not the favorite to win the NL East. If you look at that 13-game stretch they have coming up against the Giants and Dodgers, like, what do you even expect out of that? Are you happy with 500? Are you expecting worse than 500? Like, they are facing arguably the 2 best teams in baseball.
Yeah, for 13 games in a row.
Definitely the 2 best teams in the National League. And the 2 best teams who just added Trey Turner, Max Scherzer, Danny Duffy, Chris Bryant with the Giants. Like, we're talking about the 2 best teams in baseball, arguably, who just added 4 All-Stars.
Yep.
And you have to play them for 13 straight games. Are you kidding me? My goodness. And I don't know why they do this, but even with the Padres, the Mets played them 7 of 10 games. In a 10-game stretch, they played the Padres 7 games. Is this happening with every team? Is this happening with the Blue Jays? Are interleague series that close together now?
Well, they played the Braves 6 games in like a week, I swear. Maybe not a week, but like in a week and a half.
I feel like that never used to happen.
No, for some reason.
But now it's like all of a sudden, like let's just play 13 straight games against the 2 best teams in baseball.
Yeah, I mean, look at the Phillies schedule. They play the Dodgers right after the Mets. Then they play the Reds.
So, I mean, there's no easy schedule.
No, there isn't, because even the Reds are above 500. But then they play the Diamondbacks. So there you go. There's simple games.
There's no easy schedule, but there is a very tough schedule, and that's 13 straight games for the Mets starting soon.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, the Mets have to take 2 out of 3 from the Phillies. If the Phillies take back the division, they could run away with it with their offense. And adding Kyle Gibson to that rotation.
Yeah.
It's I think it's going to be a good year in Philly.
We'll see.
We'll see. But
Probably whoever wins the division is probably going to lose to the NL West team or whatever that wins the division. Actually, no, they play the Brewers. Sorry, they would play the Brewers. I guess
Yeah.
Central winner.
but yeah, isn't that crazy? Like the three best teams will already be down to one
Yeah,
by the time you get to the NLCS.
so either one of the NL Central, one of the NL East teams are going to be in the NLCS. That's crazy.
Ridiculous. That's how baseball works, I guess.
Yeah, it's the way she goes.
Way she goes.
Speaking of the AL Central, although the Reds are trying to make a run of this, I still think the Brewers still have this in the bag unless there's a monumental collapse, which the Brewers, a couple of years ago, I remember they did have a couple collapses back-to-back years.
Yes.
I think this is a completely different Brewers team because they have the best 1, 2, 3 in baseball and starters, hands down. I say there's no other one. There's no one like within. I'm saying without question that's better than that 1, 2, 3.
Definitely.
Really dominant, and that's like you don't want to face that in a playoff series because how many starters do you have in a playoff series? Like 3, 4.
Yeah, 3 or 4
3 guys. That wins a 5-game series. 1, 2, 3.
Yeah. Definitely, especially when you got a good bullpen like that.
Yeah, Josh Hader, and man, he's been good. Devin Williams has been pitching better too. So
yeah,
they got a really good pitching. The offense is left to be desired, but
well, yeah, Brewers are definitely the favorite to win the NL Central. I'd love to see the Reds make a run. I'd love to see a Brewers collapse. I think the Reds deserve a division title. I just don't think their team is strong enough. Their pitching is just awful. And I don't think they have enough to make up 7.5 games in 2 months.
No, I don't think so either.
And, the Cardinals were another potential favorite to win the division. They're 11 games back now.
Yeah.
And they're losing right now to the Braves. Talk about the Braves now going to be 1.5 games back of the Mets if they win this game. Cardinals are going to be 11.5 back of the Brewers.
Yeah, that. Oh man, that's awful. The Cardinals. I thought the Cardinals and Cubs both seemed to collapse at the same time because they both were at the top of the lead
Yep.
with Milwaukee, and the Reds were kind of in fourth. But then
the NL Central this year has been hot streaks and cold streaks.
Yeah, it really has been.
Every team has had both. The Brewers just luckily had the cold streak first, and they've had a much longer hot streak.
Yeah, for sure. And even though the Reds have been kind of pretty good over the last 2 weeks, the Brewers have kind of matched them. So the Reds didn't really gain anything on them.
Yeah.
So it just goes to show, it's probably the Brewers division to lose.
Definitely. I will say, though, the Reds offense has really impressed me this year. I think it's been a lot better than people thought going into the year. And even when they went off the first month, I said there's no way they're going to keep this going, and they have.
Yeah. No, Nick Castellanos kept it going. Jesse Winker, as much as, I don't like his luckiness. Maybe it's not luck at this point. Maybe he's actually a good hitter. Maybe I'll admit that. But
I mean, they've scored 532 runs this year.
Yeah, and that's also been helped by like the renaissance, like past month Joey Votto's had here. Like, geez, he hit home run in 7 games in a row, and he has an OPS of 918. Like, that's crazy. I didn't even think he was having that good of a year.
Yeah,
been great.
Very good.
So yeah.
All right. Well, might as well end off with the best division in sports.
Yeah.
The NL West, where we really have 2 divisions inside of the NL West. We have the Rockies and Diamondbacks kind of at the bottom.
The punching bags.
Yeah, just the punching bags. They just get beat up on every night. I mean, combined, they're barely in first place if you combine their win totals.
Yeah, honestly.
Like, they're at 82 wins combined.
Yikes.
They have a combined run differential of negative 225.
Yeah, that's pretty bad.
And we're talking about the Rockies, who play in Coors Field for half their games. They've scored 480 runs.
Yeah, that's not that good.
No. But then we look at the top of the division. Padres, who many had as the favorite to win the division, 7.5 back. Dodgers, who most had to win the division and the World Series this year, 4 back. Giants have continued to surprise people.
Yeah, they just keep playing consistent baseball all year. It doesn't seem like they haven't gone on a cold streak all year. Like I thought they had a really good start and were leading. Well, the Dodgers had an insane start. Then they cool off and the Giants kind of came in there. And I thought the Dodgers would just go on a huge run and blow the Giants in the dust. But no, the Giants have just, every time I look on the MLB standings, it seems like their last 10, they're always 6-4 or 7-3, just continuing to, play above 500 baseball over 10 game stretches. It's just remarkable consistency. And that's why they're 4 games up on the Dodgers.
Exactly. So what do you think? Do the Giants win the division?
I think, well, they definitely made a great move in getting Chris Bryant, and they have the pitching. And I mean, surprisingly, they have hit the second most home runs in baseball. I'm pretty surprised always seeing that statistic. I know it's just one thing, but it goes to show they definitely have the power. And they, Kevin Gausman's been great. Alex Wood's been pretty good this year too. And I think they'll win the division this year. I mean, the Dodgers definitely, I mean, it's only 4 games, but they have the firepower to definitely win this division still. But I mean, I'm done being a Giants hater here. I think they'll take the division here.
Yeah, I mean, they just keep winning. Like, simple as that. They've been at the top of the division forever.
Yeah, they have been.
But, all right, in your ideal scenario, if the Giants win, who pitches in the wild card game?
Oof.
For the Dodgers and the Padres. Because that's a huge game. We're talking about 2 of the 3 best teams in baseball, potentially. Brewers might have a better record than the Padres. Playing in a wild card game. 1 game elimination. 1 team has to go home.
Ooh.
Potential, like last year's World Series champions or the San Diego Padres, who arguably on paper have the best team in the division.
Yeah, that's tough. I mean, for the Dodgers this year, I mean, much as Max Scherzer has been really good and been a veteran, I may be inclined that the Dodgers pitch Walker Buehler. I mean, he's been really good this year. Like 11-2, 2.16 ERA. He's just been really, really good. So if I was Dave Roberts, I'd probably put him out there.
Yeah, I mean, I would personally go Max Scherzer just because
Fair
of the
enough.
experience.
Yeah.
I mean, he won a World Series. He's a veteran guy, pitches his heart out. But I mean, even Clayton Kershaw.
Yeah,
they just have so many arms.
they do. They do.
We're talking about a team that's lost, Trevor Bauer indefinitely and Dustin May to Tommy John surgery.
Yeah.
David Price hasn't even pitched, and he's been paid like what $35 million this year.
Yeah,
and they still arguably have the best 1-2-3 punch in the postseason. They're going to compete with the Brewers for that, but
yeah,
it's pretty incredible what the Dodgers have done.
Yeah, it really is. I mean, that's what you can get when your payroll is like $290 million or something stupid.
But then you got like Darvish with the Padres.
Yeah, I would go with him. He's kind of struggled the last bit. I may be inclined to actually go with like a Joe Musgrove too. He's been pretty good.
That's true. I mean, they got a few different guys, but Blake Snell's struggled this year.
Oh, he's been awful this year. I mean, as much as his last postseason start, he looked incredible in Game 6 there. He's just been brutal this year, and I don't know. I wouldn't trust him in that game.
No, he got absolutely blown up by the Athletics a couple weeks ago, or maybe a week ago. He gave up 7 runs in 4 innings.
Yeah, it's just the same issues that he kind of had early on in his career before he had that massive breakout year to win the Cy Young. Just can't hit the broadside of a barn, as evident by his 5.8 walks per 9 inning. And
no.
he just sucks this year. Just a brutal trade for the Padres, honestly, in hindsight here. I mean, we'll see. But
yeah. I mean, the Padres made a lot of big-time moves. They had the biggest offseason by far. But, like, Blake Snell, what are you doing? Like, It seemed like they were trying to make splashes. Did they think
Yeah.
much about the splash? I don't know. They made splashes, but the Dodgers have made much smarter, more strategic splashes in the last couple of years than the Padres have.
Oh yeah, 100%. I think the Padres are just trying to be so flashy and keep up the Dodgers, and they're just getting desperate and being kind of stupid. I don't know.
And I mean, yes, the Dodgers have the best payroll in sports, like highest payroll, but they've
Mhm.
still made some great acquisitions. Like they're really good on the trade market. They've been very good in free agency.
They really have. They really have been. I mean, obviously you can't predict, I guess, the whole Trevor Bauer situation and all that, but
No,
like, just analyzing performance of players, they've been pretty good. I mean, like the Trey Turner and the Max Scherzer, although they gave up a lot, you got a lot back and pretty good value in the guys you got back. So like, yeah,
definitely.
they got a lot of money, but they're also pretty smart with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anything else to talk about, Matt, before we end our live stream?
No, nothing really. I mean, I'm pretty excited. I mean, as much as you are a Mets fan, I'm kind of glad that, at least there's another division that's pretty close here, because I thought the Mets had this in the bag, honestly, a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah,
And then I'm glad also as a Blue Jays fan that because I saw the Blue Jays were dead like 11 games out like a week or two ago, and now it's 6.5 back. The Yankees are 6 back. Red Sox are kind of not doing too hot right now. So I'm glad the AL East is a dogfight right now as well. And in all honesty, the only divisions that really aren't close are both central divisions.
yeah,
Every other division is going to be exciting to see it down the stretch.
yeah, and especially the East divisions. I mean, for different reasons, the AL East is amazing, and the NL East is awful.
Yeah, like
But they're both close.
yeah, it's just close. Like I really don't care, like what the records of the teams are. I just want to see a really close dogfight. Like, it's always awesome to see like like a one game in the last series. It's this in between two teams, and just whoever wins the series, wins the division. It's kind of cool.
Exactly.
Like,
I love those really competitive series. Like the Mets Phillies rivalry goes way back. But I mean, even like in the AL East, you got the Yankees Blue Jays rivalry, like Red Sox Yankees rivalry, like August and September, postseason baseball coming up. Like, got some great competition on the field. Every
yeah,
series counts.
and then this weekend it starts Phillies Mets.
This is what you play
Blue
for.
Jays. Gonna be an awesome weekend. And
Yeah, exactly.
that's a stretch here.
Yeah, and I mean, postseason baseball, we're definitely gonna have to go live for some of those games.
Oh yeah, especially they have that one big day where they have like 4 games or something. That'd be awesome to do.
Yeah, especially if one of our teams is in the playoffs. I mean, we'll be having
I think
heart
one of them
attacks,
will
but-
be in the playoffs. I guarantee that's a big bold big
I
Beanie Bros sports prediction. Either the Jays or Mets, one of them like playoffs.
mean, what are the odds they face each other in the playoffs? Is it like
Well,
one in 100, 1 in 1,000, 1 in a million?
1 in
They both make
1,000.
the World Series.
That would be pretty tough. Although the Mets, if the Mets thing with the Mets is they just have to stay healthy. They have all the guys in their system to actually make a World Series run. The Jays don't. They just don't have a bullpen.
Yeah.
I
Next
mean,
year though, next year
they don't
Jays
have a bullpen.
might be the year.
Yeah, they'll have to trade for some guys, but yeah, they're looking pretty good next year.
Yeah, but even I mean, some of their bullpen arms are going to be healthy next year. Make a couple more acquisitions in free agency, get another starting pitcher.
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a big free agency class this year.
Big free agency.
One of
class.
the biggest in history, if not the biggest in history. So it's gonna be.
Wonder if the Jays will add a shortstop.
Ooh, we'll see.
Maybe slide Bichette over.
Yeah,
Never know.
so much.
All right. Well, thank you everyone for joining us at Beanie Bros Sports. If you got any questions, make sure to check out our Instagram at Beanie Bros Sports and make sure you comment with any questions, any articles you'd like to see in the future. And make sure you keep your eye out, hit that subscribe button, and you'll get notification whenever we go live.